And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
We're talking Giants every day. From McCovey Cove to the Oracle Park lights, Eric and Glenn keep the fire burning bright, fighting for the glory, no matter what it costs us, breaking down the moments from the wins to the losses. Giant Sports Talk, we're here for the ride. Eric and Glenn with the fan base pride, talking dreams, will they contend? But we'll back the Giants till the very end. Let's go, Giants! Yes! 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 Oh! Eric and Glenn breaking it down, all Giants all the time.
All right, welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live. We got special guest Lou joining us again. All right, what's up, Lou? Good to see you this evening here on this Sunday night, the night before the weather's supposed to show up tomorrow, get a little bit of rain. But, man, how about that first game of the ALCS? Glenn, I'm going to kick it right to you, man. What did you think?
I think it's going to be what everybody in this chat, all three of us, will say. Wasted opportunity by the Blue Jays with that pitching outing from a former Giant, I might add. You've got Kevin Gausman. He went 5 2/3. He had only given up 3 hits, a couple of runs. I thought it was a little bit early to get out the old hook, pull him out of there. But that's playoff baseball. But hats off. Got to tip the hat to the Mariners, Eric. How about that? They go, what was it, 15 innings the other night? Geez, it was past my bedtime. They were still going. I ended up watching the WNBA final game. And I said, oh, my God, they're still playing. Then I watched a college football game, and, oh, geez, they're still playing. That was a long game, Eric. They used up all their pitching. They had to go with a number 5 pitcher tonight. He came out, and it's funny. Isn't that ironic? You want to read the text I sent you?
Yeah, here we go. Got one run. Here we go.
One pitch, one run. Here we go. And you're like, yep. And then, boy, I didn't see that coming. So Miller gets the win, went 6, gave up 2 hits, and one was a home run. But see, you didn't see the Mariners panicking, pulling Miller out. Oh my God, 1 pitch, a home run. I mean, I just thought the ace pitcher of the Blue Jays, the guy that got them there. They went to the hook a little bit too early. But again, tip my hat to the Mariners. Same thing. You had Spire, Brash, and Munoz. Munoz a tough close right there. So the Mariners get it done 3-1. I didn't see it after the first inning, though. Didn't see it.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. Yeah, and that's where I was just going to, Lou. You know, the whole postseason, I want to ask you this, Lou. The whole postseason, it seems like there's always been an instant where the manager's going to go out there and go pull a starter when you may not need to necessarily pull the starter. What'd you think of this game, Lou?
You know, baseball is so unpredictable. I think what we spoke about, probably about the beginning of it, is there's always some unknown hero you've never heard of, but you obviously need one of your studs to show up. And this was a perfect example. I mean, I'd say if you spoke to 100 people, baseball knowledge, 95 of them would say Toronto has all the advantages.
Yes.
After one pitch, they're up 1-0. Gausman has his sinker working. And then the big daddy for Seattle comes through with a huge hit on, Gausman's one mistake. And then they scored 2 and they got a nice shutdown inning. I think you got to just say this was a game that Seattle stole. They probably shouldn't have won, but they did. And that's what makes baseball playoffs so unique. Now the good thing about tomorrow is less than 24 hours that come right back. And I think tomorrow's sort of, I don't want to say it's a must win, but it's pretty close for Toronto to try to even up because, as we know, this series goes 2-3-2. And if you win tomorrow, you split. That means you got to at least get one of the three in Seattle before you come home. But you got to give all the credit just to Seattle for everything they went through. And as you know, they had Miller today, who's really hasn't been that effective.
No,
he's their fifth pitcher. And I saw a stat. He only pitched tonight because he was the only starter that didn't pitch the other night.
Correct.
So they had nothing. They had to throw him. And like usual, he came through, no pressure, and especially after the first pitch. My God, Oppo, homer, place going crazy. And I think the key was Toronto had a chance in that first to add on. If you remember, they had first and second, one out. They couldn't get the big hit after that. That was a huge relief. And then Miller, I think he went 7-9, 7-11. And then they let him, after they scored 2, they let him finish the 6. And, the bullpen took over and, the game was over. So I got to give credit to Seattle for where it is. And, you can't really win a game on only 2 hits, especially when you get one that scores your run on the first pitch and you only get one other hit the rest of the game. So Seattle gets the credit, but tonight I feel like they stole one. And Toronto has to come out tomorrow and we'll see what happens.
You know what else, guys? The Mariners steal today's game. Like, perfect analogy, Eric. They steal that game literally on the back. Rosarina steals second, steals third, awesome. Great on the paths. Awesome. But then, did you notice that Wu, is that his name? Wu is on the postseason.
He's on the roster. That's not good.
Now that they've won the first game, they're going to throw him on a simulated game. If he can slide in, they'll just catch right back up again. And another factor is Blue Jays still without Bo Bichette. He won't go this series, Eric.
I saw that. Not good. And I'm going to tell you something. Toronto Blue Jays only getting 2 hits is crazy. That's not the Toronto Blue Jays. They're guys who get hits, and today,
an off day.
This is the wrong time, right? And that's what we've said about postseason. If you get hot at the right time in a postseason, it can carry you. But if you start going into a slump during the postseason, that could spell disaster. So I'm hoping that's not what the case is. Let's see what happens tomorrow. And how about let's not forget about Polanco. Guy had a nice solid hit to left field. That was, again, right, Glue, that was another 2 out. It was a full count. You can't do that. You can't lay one over the plate like that and allow your hitters to beat you. You got to go out there. You got to be a little bit more competitive. That's what happened with Gosman with Cal Raleigh. You hang that slot or that change up, and he's gonna freaking take it deep in that, and that's what he did. But I tell you, more than anything, the resilience that Seattle showed tonight was just incredible. I mean, we already talked about it. 15 innings, just a couple of days ago, and here you are, first game of the CS, and you're able to put out a game like that. Granted, were they killing the ball? No, but they kept putting pressure. They are giving good at-bats. They were not going down easy. And to be honest with you, Seattle's lineup was kind of like what the Toronto Blue Jays have been doing, right? Getting those key hits. Sometimes you get the big fly. That was more Toronto Blue Jay baseball that Seattle was playing. So, and I think you said it, Glenn, you got to tip your cap to the Seattle Mariners because they came out with a game plan and they got done. Again, I don't understand why they went and yanked Gosman. I don't understand what this is. What is the mindset? We've been talking about this for a while, Glenn. What is the deal with these managers freaking out, over managing, and just going and pulling your guy? Right. A lot of times these guys are only in their 50 to 60 pitches. And there goes the manager walking out there, giving them the hook. And it's like, come on, let them get out of this. I mean, it's not like if they're leaking oil, right? Then, okay, I get it. If you're giving them base it. Okay, something's going on. And then you may have to go get them. But man, I don't quite understand what the thought process was there.
Totally agree, Eric. It wasn't like it was high leverage yet. I mean, you didn't want it to get out of hand. I mean, I think managers are afraid to be second guessed. If it got out of control, then they're like, "Oh, well, you should have brought him out." Yeah,
Well, that's why you're the manager.
As Lou would say, the old adage: playing it safe. Playing it safe. Go to my bullpen. I'm up 1-0. If anybody's going to blow it, it won't be me. It won't be the starter. It won't be me, the manager. It's the bullpen's fault. So I think he's playing it safe. We're seeing too many teams do this, though, Eric.
Way too
You know
many.
what? Nothing ball game.
I don't like it. I want to see the guys go, man. Again, the situation should dictate that. Honestly, let's talk about this. I mean, let's go back a little bit here since we got a lot of Giants fans in there. Would Bruce Bochy ever go pull a pitcher when he just gave up a solo shot and then walked? I don't know if he does that. Not if it's your quote unquote your guy and you're only you're 5 2/3 in, you're only sitting at around 60 pitches. I don't think he does that. He waited until later in the game and get those matchups, back when you can go ahead and do that without the 3-hitter minimum. But man, there's something just seems off with that. Sometimes it works. I get it. Sometimes it works but there's other times where it just doesn't. What do you think, Lou?
Eric,
talk to me about these starting pitches.
I mean, he was 76 pitches in the 6th. I think you got to remember it's best out of 7. It's not best out of 3, best out of 5. Maybe, we don't know this, but maybe Gausman was tired. We only see what happens. We didn't see him in the dugout. I do know, he didn't take a shower. He wanted to watch the action. Maybe he thought what was right because he might need him, in game 4 and game 7. It's only game 1. So, but I understand what you guys are saying. But what I do want to say is with Polanco, one of the things the Giants lack is clutch. This guy's batting .323 with runners in scoring position compared to someone like, our great third baseman who's great defensively, who's batting like 189. That's the difference. When you have a guy, and it was so funny, if you watch the broadcast, they even said, God, he's batting .323, runs in scoring position. Who else do you want up? And boom, there's the single on the 1-2 pitch. So, it's amazing where, that's what you need. You need guys that, first of all, have done it before. And, that's a veteran who's done it before and he comes through over and over, and if the Giants are ever going to get veterans, those are the type of guys I'd rather have. Someone that's done it in the playoffs, someone that's proven. And, but yeah, taking him out, I think sometimes, especially in game 1, either he's a GOAT, he left him in too long, or he took him out. But game 1, I think you guys might be a little bit tough at 76 pitches, but
I don't know about that, Lou. No disrespect, Lou, but Eric, you and I we tackled this pretty wholeheartedly. Was it a Friday? Friday night? I said, what happened to baseball when can you imagine? Can you imagine it'd be there'd be another fight out on the mound with Nolan Ryan being pulled after? Well, you're up to 70 pitches. I said to you, Eric, it was 150 pitches the freak threw to get his second. I think it was his second no-hitter against the Padres. What happened to guys? If you're saying your ace is tired after 70 pitches, I don't buy that. Baseball's got to get back to your pitcher's pitch, not stop pussyfooting around with this. This is crazy.
I agree there, Glenn, but how many pitches did he pitch in his last start? I don't think he went 60.
He didn't go very deep, I don't think.
And that could be the other effect. He didn't go too far. Just baseball, especially now, the pressure's really building. You're 4 wins away of the World Series.
Right.
You're 8 from being the champion. So, but hey,
the Blue Jays don't have a deep bullpen, Lou. They don't have a deep bullpen, so why you would do that? I don't know. I think it's a cause for concern when you did that.
Well,
and
maybe he might have overmanaged, seeing that Seattle doesn't have anything left because of what happened. Where sometimes people react from the last game. They have nobody. All they have is a closer. If we can just hold them to this, we still have a chance. Again, I'm just,
and one thing we don't know is, maybe Gausman was fighting something we just don't know, and that they have on an innings limit. Again, I'm just saying, I've seen that a lot in this postseason. And Gausman, he's been there before, right? He was there during the 2021 run when the Giants had the 107 wins for that season and getting bounced in the DS. But it wasn't because of him. The guy was freaking absolutely amazing, and the Giants should have signed him, but far and let him go. It's
I don't think anything was.
Now I hear what Lou is saying, right? It's game 1 of a 7-game series. I get it. You still want to go out there and win, though. There's no doubt about it, because the last thing you want to do is just give away games. And I don't think Schneider was necessarily doing that. But I think, to Lou's point, He might have been thinking in the back of his head, Seattle just got done going 15 innings. I think I'll be able to get away with this. These guys may be a little bit tired, but you know what? They showed that they weren't tired, because after that happened, they wind up scoring a couple of more runs, and then their pitching was just absolutely lights out. Talking about the Seattle Mariners pitching.
Well, then if that was his reasoning, Eric, behind that decision, then his ass should be on the hot seat right now, because they are down now 1-0.
And I'm sure that would probably be the talk in Toronto. I mean, you could keep an ear out for that tomorrow there, Glenn, in the press before the next game. I would not be surprised if there's a lot of press being talked about, hey, why did you go out there? And heck, I
already is.
Is it already?
Already.
Yeah,
already is in the post game up in Rogers. I had the post game on just before we came to air. Now, let me ask you, Eric. You say, he could be fighting something. I don't think that's the case, because he came out. He still looked pretty darn fresh, and he didn't. He stayed. He was there in the dugout. He didn't go anywhere. Nothing to be looked at. So I just think it was bad managerial move today in game one.
And look, that's where I'm sticking. All I'm saying is we don't know. We don't know what the conversations and what's going on. But no, he looked fine. He retired 11 before that, and I think it was just I think the manager just overmanaged, and we're seeing a lot of that, guys. We're seeing a lot.
It's not a one-off, is it? It's certainly not a one-off. That's for sure.
It's not. We've seen everybody. We've seen Greg Counsell. We've seen Pat Murphy do it. We've seen Dan Schneider. Aaron Boone did it with Max Fried when he shouldn't have yanked him. I mean, it was just, there's a whole bunch of different situations where we've seen it throughout this postseason. So,
and in recent seasons too, Eric, we've seen managers, you get knocked out. You get knocked out, and then there's a lot of second guess, and they're like, Jesus, your decision making cost us a series.
Yeah.
So they're down 1-0, Eric. They had, like I said off the top, Lou, Eric, they had the Mariners where they wanted them. Tired, travel day, come back home field now for the Jays. The fans were rabid up there, and
flying literally across the continent. Damn near across the continent from Seattle all the way to freaking Toronto. So, I mean, it's
but an 8-hour flight or so.
I mean, I guess maybe something. It's probably direct, so probably a little bit less than that. But yeah,
about 8. For me to go to Chicago is just over 5. So Toronto be a little more. I think it's crazy. I can't believe we're sitting here talking about this game, and the Mariners are up 1-0, and we're talking about the same crap pitching. Jesus. And managerial move.
Hey.
Yeah, Eric, the good thing about Toronto is the game's less than 24 hours, and they have the stud going tomorrow. So it could be one of these things, too. Like when you travel, and the first day you get up, you're fine. You do what you have to do. And the second day, really, the 3-hour difference sort of costs you.
Yep.
That's where I think Toronto can get them tomorrow. They're going to have the advantage. They have the young stud going. It's a must win. So if Toronto wins tomorrow, I'll feel fine about the series.
And I'll tell you, to your point, Lou,
things.
every time I flew east, I always had a tough time getting acclimatized.
Yeah,
when I flew back west, I was a little bit better.
Yeah. Like when I go to the Masters, the first day I'm trying to adjust. I do whatever I can. And then, like, the second day, I'm really tired. So, we'll see. And you got to remember, it's a very quick turnaround. It's basically a day game for Seattle. So, it's, I think the advantage tomorrow is definitely going to be Toronto. I know we'll talk more about it, but, hey, you know what? It's only 1. It's the first to 4.
Yep. There you go. And, hey, let me ask you this, Lou. Well, let's start, and I'll go to Glenn. Do you like 5-game series or 7-game series better?
I think 5 games, a manager is more important.
Okay.
Because it's really about, you need all 26. And in a 7-game series, you can make mistakes, but you still, when you think about some of the Giants games, today was just overall pitching, and who knows, maybe Toronto got caught up thinking ahead. Seattle had their big thing. All we got to do is show up. We're at home. And that happens. They have the better record. They have the home field advantage, but that's why you play the games. But I think in a 7-game series, really you want to get whoever leads 2-1, 2-0 is one thing, but when you get up 2-1, especially the way the 2-3-2 works, I think it's more of a total team. I think in best of 5, it's more what the manager and starting pitching. Best out of 3, it's really luck. Because usually if you look the first round, it wasn't like can you remember who were the big studs were in the game in the 3-game series? And that's what it is. So now you got to remember too, a little bit more pressure. Now, hey, again, you don't want to look ahead to the World Series, but it's 4 wins, it's best out of 7, and it's a very quick turnaround. They're gonna play tomorrow, then they're off Tuesday, and then I'm pretty sure don't they go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they're off Saturday and come back Sunday and Monday? I'm not sure the exact schedule.
There may be I don't know. We'll see. I know tomorrow, of course, there's going to be 2 games, and then the following day is just going to be the National League. But man, yeah, I like what you had to say, Glenn. Which do you like?
Like I said to you the other day, I said to you that we were heading into these best of 7, and I think in the best of 7 series, you're going to get teams that usually. I mean, there's debate. A Cinderella team pops up here and there, but I think best of 7. The longer the series, the cream rises to the top. The better team has the ability to win, and you're this late into the season. I mean, you're into the 3rd round of the playoffs for a couple of these teams, and for the Jays, 2nd round, they just ousted the Yankees. Typically, the manager should understand. So here we are, second guessing his move today. But typically, a manager of a good ball club should know what he has to do, should know what he's got as far as a culture in this ball club. So let's just see if they can rebound tomorrow. To pull the old adage Lou likes to use in recent days, just pick up the carpet, sweep it under there, and move on. Less than 24 hours tomorrow afternoon. They're back at it. And brand new series. Jays win tomorrow. Right back in it. Trey Savage is going to be tough against the Seattle Mariners. Mark it down.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you a question about Trey here in a little bit as well. 5-game series, I like what you said, Lou, because I think it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more intensity because it's 2 less games.
And a rush.
7 games. Yeah. I mean, you still don't get me wrong. You still got to go out there. You got to win them. But it seems like it's just the pressure is on, so to speak, with a 5-game. And a lot of times guys there's guys that step up when the pressure's on, and there's some guys that fade away. And some people need that pressure. Let's talk about this. One of the best postseason playoff players right now in the entire playoffs is Kike Hernandez. Has a disgusting regular season, but all of a sudden the lights turn on in a postseason, and a guy steps up every single time, man. And again, it used to be back in the day. Remember, Lou, when we used to have the waiver wire, you could always go out there and go get one of those guys for your team for the final push. But here's another thing. I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to start with Lou with this one as well. We didn't get a chance because we went straight into the LCS. We didn't have a day off at all. Are the 4 teams in the CSs, are those the best teams that are in there? As the season finished, are these the 4 best teams?
In my mind, yes. Especially, Philly got close, but remember, they lost their race. So they were down
they did.
A stud. Everybody else, you got in that best of 3. They tried. San Diego, they tried. But no, I think these are the 4 best teams. I mean, you got to remember, the beginning of the playoffs, the Dodgers, even though they had to go through the wild card system, they were still the betting favorites for a reason. Mm-hmm. They're the defending champs until they're knocked out. I mean, right now, the series, Milwaukee and the Dodgers are still favored, even though Milwaukee swept the Dodgers, during the regular season.
6-0.
Regular season means nothing. Playoffs are a lot different. So as to your question, yes, I think they are the 4 best. And I think both series are probably at least going to go 6, maybe 7.
That's what I'm thinking. I think they go minimum 6. I do. Glenn, 4 best teams?
Oh, totally. I said that the other night. I think these are the 4 best. You don't have to do a deep dive into this.
No, you don't.
These are the 4 best. And that's why I had the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. I mean, if you go series by series as we go along, I mean, we've seen the better teams win. Blue Jays are a better team than the Yankees. Dodgers are a better team than the Phillies and so on. The best teams have been able to roll, and I think you got the best four that you could possibly have. And it rolls over from the regular season. I mean, these were good teams. Milwaukee deserves to be there.
Yes, they do.
The Mariners deserve, the Blue Jays, and certainly the Dodgers. Dodgers can cakewalk it all season. They still win the division, for fuck's sake. Everybody go, oh, they have a bad year. They have a bad year. I go, oh, I'm looking up as a Giant fan, and they're still way up there. So if that's a bad season, that's bad news for the future of the Giants, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I agree, man. This is good. Look, this is why we love playoff baseball, man. And you never know. And the good thing is there's really no quote-unquote Cinderella team that's making it up through here. It's the best versus the best, and that's all we can ask for as baseball fans. Even though here, we're Giants fans here, we still like to watch good baseball, and I think we're not going to be let down. Today was a great game. Now, granted, Toronto didn't really come out with the firepower they normally have, but the pitching was the telling story because we've already talked about this, of course, but Gosman was out there, did great. Freaking, like you said, Lou, Gilbert. I mean, not Gilbert. Yeah. No, Gilbert, right? No, tomorrow's Miller.
Yeah,
Miller.
Bryce.
Had a 5 ERA during the regular season. But look what happened. You get in the playoffs, the next thing you know, and that's what I'm saying. Some people can bear down. It's different, right? You're a little bit more, as I like to say, Glenn, focused. You're a little bit more focused when you're in these because it's not just this isn't in the middle of August just trying to get through the season and here comes your start. Granted, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're not going out there giving it their best, but it's a little bit different when you're in the postseason when it actually means something.
Yeah. Well, Eric, focus on this. I'm going to throw one at you. You've been throwing ones at us. Bo Bichette, how much do you think he'll be missed the deeper you get into the playoffs as far as the Blue Jays?
They're doing well with Adam. Barger's been actually doing a pretty damn good job as shortstop. He really has. I mean, they got him bad in cleanup. I don't think
Barger's still not a Bichette. You lose Bichette.
I'm not. But they're winning with him. So, I mean, it's so far it's not hurting them.
I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. You start losing your better players. I mean, he's been out for a while. They only had one series in, but here they've lost him this entire series. So they keep and we went through this in a WNBA. It's always, well, next series, Caitlin Clark will be ready to play. Oh, next series. I mean, they're talking about he'll be ready for. They're hoping he'll be ready for the World Series. I mean, Eric. I mean, come on, shit or get off the pot. Is he ready to go? Is he soon ready to go, or is this just mind over matter for us?
I mean, and it's got to be something serious, right? If he's out of this. Lou, what you got?
Well, one thing I did want to point out, if you look up, forget about this year where he had a bad year. If you look at Bryce Miller's stats from last year, he was a stud. His ERA was like 2.32. Yep. He was Seattle's second best pitcher. So, it might have been just one of those things where his stuff worked tonight like last year. You know what I mean? I mean, again, you don't always want to go through the regular season. But, Bryce Miller tonight stepped up. The other thing is you're used to Toronto getting 8 hits, putting rallies together. It just didn't happen tonight. Hey, it's baseball. It's going to happen like that.
That's true, Lou.
Yep. That's why in baseball, you could fail. You could be 0 for 7, but you get 2 bombs and a triple. People think you're amazing because you came through 3 out of 10 times. One game, not a big problem. You got your stud tomorrow. They come back and, now, if they have the same problem, where they're not getting big hits and they have another 4 or 5 games, then I'd start worrying, panicking. It might be one of those things. But, again, I think, when you sort of are the home team, you have the advantage. You're seeing all the benefits. They might have been reading their articles. It's not like Toronto was in the World Series or in the ALCS the last 3 or 4 years. It's new to them, too. They might have been caught up in the pressure. And maybe the worst thing that happened is first pitch of the game, you go up 1-0. You're already assuming it's over.
Yeah.
Piggyback up what Lou's talking about. The Jays are that kind of team. They score runs, right, Eric? So typically you don't need the pitching. But I see a lot of last year's Dodgers in the Toronto Blue Jays this year. I don't know if the Blue Jays will have enough because they rely on the runs. I don't think the Blue Jays have the pitching the Mariners have, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think they do. And to add on to this, with that first inning, I thought Miller was done. 20 something pitch. Was it 25, 27 pitches in the first inning?
27 pitches. Remember, first and second with one out.
Yes.
They had a chance to blow it up. It sort of was like how the Giants were a lot this year.
Yes. And Ibrahim, I saw Ibrahim.
And they couldn't get the big hit early. And, it came back to haunt them.
Yep.
But again, it's only one game, everyone. Everyone just relax.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. Now, here's another thing. Which team is the most seasoned? There's only really, I think, one team that's the most seasoned out of the 4 teams in the CS, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Right? Brewers have not been here, right? Seattle, when's the last time they went to the CS, the Seattle Mariners?
When a guy named Mr. Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, there you go.
Edgar.
I think it's 18 years.
Cleveland.
My God. And then Toronto. I mean, they were in the DS not that long ago, right?
Yeah,
it's or was it the World? It's so some of these teams, there is something to that, to where you have guys who have done it before. Because you talked about that, Glenn, having veterans who've done this before. They're going to be a little bit more prepared in what to do. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. It's going to be fun.
Don't you think the Mariners were a little more aggressive? They were going all in, Eric. I don't think the Blue Jays did enough of the trade deadline to say we're all in. I mean, you don't think getting a guy, Suarez was just in a World Series a couple of years ago, Eric. There's a guy who's got experience. He's got the experience in the World Series. So picking up him, even though he hasn't been dominant, he's a guy who can win a game for you, Eric. He stepped right into that lineup. He's a player. Maybe I'm not going to change my prognostication just yet. But the Mariners, the more I see the Mariners, they just seem to have a little more depth in certain categories. I mean, they got a hell of a pitching performance in that Game 5 the other night, didn't they? They got the pitching from the starters, the bullpen. They got their big hitters. I mean, they got on base. They came through. So I kind of like what I'm seeing from the Mariners, but I'm still going to cheer on the Toronto Blue Jays.
Lou, I didn't get a chance to ask you this. Who are you pulling for in the CS in both for the American League and NL? We got Toronto.
I'd love to see Toronto. I think one thing we got to point out is Seattle the last 2 years always had the pitching, but didn't have the hitting. Yeah. And as Glenn said, if you saw what they did, they got 2 studs that were purely hitters. We've talked about this before, maybe on the hot corner, is to take him to that next level. If you look at their lineup, they have guys that they got on the trade deadline from Arizona. They got Naylor back, and they did what had to be done. And that's what sort of frustrates me the last couple of years for the Giants, is they really haven't done it to get that next step. What their excuse was, we're close, so we're not going to make a trade. Seattle realized what they did. The Padres did the same thing, getting, their pitching. But, I think tonight, again, the bats, if you take away the first pitch of the game, the bats were silent tonight.
They were.
And
totally.
I think tomorrow will be different. The thing about Toronto, too, is they're not worried. They're not worried. Because, they know how good they are, and that's what great teams do. And then as to your question, do you think, say Milwaukee wins tomorrow, Snell loses like a 3-1 game. Do you think the Dodgers are worried with their lineup and their pitching? No. So, I think a lot of it is the players, and then it's the managers, I think, as Glenn says, the Dodgers were just did this last year with no pitching. No pitching. Now they have their pitching, so they got to be the favorite. But I think Milwaukee, their key is they got to win tomorrow. Mm-hmm. They got to hold the home. They got to actually probably win the first 2 games and then try to steal one in Dodger Stadium to come back. I think it's a lot different with Toronto and their offense. I think their offense will travel to Seattle. Yes. I don't know if Milwaukee could travel to their offense, which is great.
Oh, good point. Good point. Ooh, the only thing that will help the Brewers, I should say, is they make contact. So if they make contact, it may be able to play. But if they're going to try to be swinging for the fences, yeah, that's a little bit different in Milwaukee than it is in Dodger Stadium. Especially
Eric, if you're the advertisers or you're Major League Baseball, I mean, if you're Major League Baseball, you're looking at the script right now and going, Jesus, Dodgers got to make the World Series. They got to. I think you got Milwaukee and Toronto. I think the ratings are going to be horrible. Even Seattle. I mean, the Dodgers are the only ratings boost that the World Series can get right now.
You're not lying. You're not lying. But gosh, if
we'll be watching.
Look,
but I mean,
if you're a baseball fan, you're going to be okay with that. If you're not, and if you're just a quote unquote front runner kind of guy, well, then guess what? Yeah, you're not going to watch because you're not going to see the big names, right? You're just not between Toronto and the Blue Jays. Who's the biggest name?
The average fan, Eric, who jumps on board for that. There's a lot of fans out there, right, Lou, that will say, "Oh, the World Series is on. I'll tune in tonight." They'll watch it. Basketball, men's basketball, I'll watch the finals. I don't watch it all year. So the baseball fans would tune in. Do you think they can name too many players from Milwaukee or Toronto? I don't.
It's sort of funny. Last year they got spoiled because we had the two biggest markets. We had the Dodgers and the Yankees.
And that was huge.
Notice before that, I think every one of the when the Giants won the World Series, I remember the ratings were awful. And I'm saying awful. Like maybe like an 11 share, a 7 share. Now, locally, it'll be the biggest thing. Like if it's Seattle, Milwaukee,
right,
it's going to be big, but that's just how it is.
Not nationally.
Not national. Now, the one thing too is if say you get Milwaukee, you lose the Dodgers, you get Toronto, at least you have two different, you have Canadians and you have USA, so you might have something, but hey, that's just the way the ball rolls. That's why if you notice tonight, and the NFL is no dummy, they go, okay, game one of the American League Championship Series, we better have someone like Mahomes and maybe Detroit, like an East Coast thing to go against the Rangers baseball. Now, tomorrow, if you notice, they're doing 2 Monday night games. Thinking ahead, could be the Dodgers, right? All right, we got the Dodgers playing, but now they got 2 Monday night games. You see, everyone's trying to outdo each other. That's why the NBA comes literally not for another 2 weeks, because now what they got to do is saying, hey, when the World Series, just in case, nobody's going to watch the NBA, but that's why they always have the openers and certain things, and everything's done for a reason. That's why the Giants opener next year is the Yankees, because they're going against the Final Four in the Masters. So you got to put a game that people are going to have interest in. So,
that makes sense.
Hey, the ratings were big this weekend up here, Lou. Your Saskatchewan Roughriders defeated the Toronto Argonauts 27-19. And my Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they were on the road. I thought they were at home this weekend. It's next weekend. I got a ticket to it. And Winnipeg was on the road in Edmonton, got beat 25-20. So my team lost, and freaking Lou's team won. And they wore the weirdest jerseys last night, too. Ugh.
Yeah, I need 2 more wins out of 4 to win the West before the playoffs start. So I have Saskatchewan just winning the West, and then I got them winning the whole thing.
Next Friday night, I'm there, Lou. 7 o'clock start in Winnipeg, the 12-4 Riders up against the Bombers, who are 8-8. I'll be there, Lou. I'll be thinking about you, but I'll be enjoying the game.
All right, let's take a look at this for tomorrow.
Have a Molson for me. Thanks.
There you go. Molson. There you go.
It's called Molson Canadian. What beers?
Tomorrow, 2:03, first pitch for Seattle Mariners, Toronto Blue Jays. Logan Gilbert will be the starter for the Mariners, who pitched, 2 or 3 innings a couple of days ago. Trey Savage. That one's going to be fun to watch. Again, I want to come back to that here shortly. Dodgers have announced Blake Snell will be their starting pitcher. And I think Milwaukee, I thought I saw something about Peralta. Isn't Johnny Peralta supposed to be the starter? I think he is.
Yeah, coming back quick.
I think so. So you got Blake Snell and Peralta.
So, Eric, with Gilbert coming, so he pitched the other night, 2 innings?
I think 2 or 3, right? Yeah.
Now, usually on your off days, you'll pitch an inning in the bullpen. You don't know of that tension, how strong it was, how much he used it. Because remember, there was no tomorrow, so we had to do whatever. I can't remember how many pitches he went. He might even have gone maybe 2 2/3 inning.
He went a while.
Back You know what I mean? So quick. So that's why I think, with Trey going tomorrow, big advantage. And, the other thing is, I don't know when Seattle played Toronto, but have they seen him? Have they gone against Trey? Because, you got to remember, Trey was sort of more of I'd say last 6 weeks, Seattle maybe not have seen him. Again, until you see this guy, you know what's coming, but until you've seen it live, it's different. So I think it's a big advantage.
I think he could dominate tomorrow. He's been dominant so far. There's nothing that says he won't be, especially like you say, Lou, if they don't know what they're up against, just wait till you see him pitch.
So what do you make of that line of Toronto minus 125? What's that tell you, Glenn?
Oh, it tells you that the odds makers are thinking exactly the same way that Lou and I are, like geniuses.
Okay. All right. Geniuses. Okay. There we go.
Well, I'm on board with Lou.
Trey Savage. There is something I saw on Twitter today. He was addressing the media. What's going on with his family? I mean, it's not really doing with baseball, but what was it? What do you know? Because you're in Canada, you might know a little bit more about it. What's going on with his family is being attacked or something for something that Trey Savage has done on the field? You would have to be able to speak to that. I don't know what it was. He talked about it in the presser.
I can't speak to that. I'll look it up. I can't speak to that. I haven't heard.
All right, never mind. If you haven't heard anything, it must not be a big thing then. So I don't know what the whole deal was. He came out and actually made a statement about it during the pregame stuff today. It was about what was it? Maybe 2 hours before the game, something like that. He was saying, "Hey, don't be going after my family and my friends." And it's like, oh, wow.
Is it because he plays in Canada and he went to school out here and originally from Pennsylvania?
I wonder. It may make me.
I mean, all I know is he's 6'4". He's pretty dominating. So
yes, he is a starting pitcher.
Yeah, starting pitcher. He's built. So I think tomorrow the key is Toronto get an early lead and let him do the job with shutdown innings. And before you know it, they'll be up 3, 4, 5-0. And
if he can command that changeup like he did against the Yankees, oh my God!
I mean, he had 14 strikeouts against the Yankees.
Exactly against the Yankees.
The thing is, he could be sort of how Mad Bum was. People forget Mad Bum came up when he pitched Game 3 of the. Nobody really knew who Mad Bum was unless you were a Giants fan, right? Right. And he just dominated. And it takes a while to understand these guys.
I just looked it up, Eric. I just looked it up, and I can tell you all I'm seeing online, and it's significant. But apparently, so who he knocked out? The Yankees.
Oh, so it's the Yankees fans.
So they say there's the Yankees fan base is just being Yankee fans, and sports bettors really came on board because they were betting on the Yankees.
Of course they were. Get out of here, then. Get out of here with your business with that bullshit. Just.
You know what I tell them, Eric?
Hey, man.
You know what I tell them?
Yeah, I know what you tell them. Take off, eh? We'll keep it that way. How about that? How about we just keep it there?
Begins with a capital F and ends with an F.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, with that Trey Savage, I know if you got a chance to see him pitch, Lou, but he has a delivery very reminiscent of Justin Verlander. He doesn't have that bigger. He has a little bit of a smaller leg kick, but that over the top it's incredible, man. And I think that's why he gets so much ride on his damn off speed. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and he's been up a month, so he got called up September 15th.
Oh, he's fresh.
So, so he's fresh, his arm. The thing is he's only pitched 5, 4, 5, and 5 1/3. So he's been dominant, but they probably need at least to go to 6 tomorrow and get a nice lead for him. Again, it's a lot easier to pitch when you have the lead, but especially again, he's pitched great, but he's never pitched in this type of game. Sort of a must win. ALCS. So, I'm not really worried about him. I think tomorrow the first inning's probably a big key because he's going to be he's got to do his job. And if he can get past the first, I feel good about Toronto.
Get a couple of big series underway this week, Eric, but also kind of over here simmering on the little burner. Could we see a new manager in San Francisco in the next few days?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, Every
And is it
day.
Hundley?
I'm going through Twitter.
Is the writing already, the graffiti already on the wall, Eric, to go along with
I don't
those
think it
Tuesday
is.
City Connects? It's going to be Hundley.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Why wouldn't they have announced it already? If that's the case, why wouldn't they have announced it? If he's that much of a sure thing, shouldn't we have already heard something? You heard the news.
And if he's so popular, why is he not interviewing with anybody else?
Yeah, that's what I brought up. I brought up that very question. Yeah.
I say you hire him, you're playing it safe again.
And here's another thing. They interviewed, I think you probably saw this too, Lou. What's his name? Brandon Hyde, former manager of the Orioles, was interviewed supposedly. But now all of a sudden it's kind of dried up. You know, we heard the announcements that Kurt
Eric,
Suzuki,
as I said, he was the flavor of the week. It's a new week starting tomorrow.
Yeah. And look, we don't know. Is it honestly? I can't tell you. I don't know if these. I'm guessing it probably happened. I mean, John Shea did report it. John Shea's really good, so I'm not going to doubt what John Shea has to say about with the Brandon Hyde. But let's just see what happens. I guess I saw news today coming out of Southern California. Albert Pujols may have some competition.
For the Angels, yeah.
Torrey Hunter.
Another former player. They actually played together.
They did.
For the Angels.
They did. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to pan out down in, because Arte Moreno, right? He's kind of a guy that goes for the show, right? He's all about the big show, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Do you think something like that they're checking with their stud? You know, I mean, Pujols is a name.
He's a name.
But I think most importantly is you got to ask their main guy, hey, what do you think? Who do you want? Sort of like,
Right.
I mean, the Giants don't have a guy, really who, I don't think they would talk to, Adames or anyone. Hey, who do you want? But I think with the Angels, when you have sort of a future Hall of Famer, hey, who do you prefer? What type of manager? I think the biggest problem with Moreno is he's done sort of the wrong thing. I'm bringing in for a show. It's all about the gate and getting people, and it's falling on its face. He had Ohtani, couldn't win with him, didn't really advertise him the right way compared to what the Dodgers do. So, but hey, again, another surprise because 4 or 5 days ago, Pujols, you would never even have thought he wanted to manage.
I know.
He has managed, and I think I saw in Colombia or whatever. I just don't know, what it is. And I think the one point is maybe the Giants aren't doing anything because maybe they're close with Hundley, but there might be someone who's still performing right now, the Final Four. I mean, as you saw today, I think it was yesterday, the assistant GM of the Padres left. Right.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
He said, hey, I think it's time for, you just don't know. A lot of times too, maybe the Giants know who they're doing, but they don't want to compete. And they'll do it with the break between the ALCS and the World Series.
And the World Series.
At least the Giants are in the news. You just don't know because a lot of times that's sort of how the Giants, would do it. Why not do it when so the Giants are in the news? That's just sort of how baseball is.
And who knows? It's a possibility. Maybe Hundley was interviewing for a front office position because that's what he was doing in Texas. It's possible. Who knows? We don't until there's an announcement.
Until it happens. And you got to remember, our local reporters have nothing else to report.
Yeah,
what else are they going to do?
That's a fact.
You got Susan. Oh yeah, they've interviewed him. Okay. You got to remember, they are telling you what you want to hear, not the true facts half the time.
I've called you. I've said that a lot lately too, Eric. I've said, come on. If we were only in they say we're the 5th best market in baseball. Well, the media should start acting like it.
Well, it's just, unfortunately, it's just different. It is. It just is. Right, wrong,
Why?
Different.
Why?
It's different. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's more.
Why do we pussyfoot around, Eric?
It's a culture thing. Over here in the West Coast, things are laid back. It's chill. East Coast, it's all just
Yeah, this franchise has been too chill, Eric. Time to get real.
It all starts with Larry Bear.
Right?
I think he's the main problem.
Well, let's
starts
talk
with
about
Larry Bear and then the owners. It's all what he wants.
LA Dodgers, do they have
Scale.
hard-hitting journalists? Not that I've seen. The San Diego Padres, the Angels, the A's, all those have media guys that are out there being like it is either in Philadelphia or New York or Boston? No.
When was the last time either of you guys saw the media come out and lay into somebody? It never happens.
But the thing is, okay,
they are an extension of the marketing team, in my opinion. The media are an extension of what do you want us to print today?
And that's fair. And let's talk about it. It's been like that even back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Beat writers, what do you think beat writers are doing? What were beat writers doing after the game?
Well, I wasn't subscribing.
You know what they were doing? They were hanging out with the players at the bars, drinking with them.
Trying to get that was their source.
That was their source.
Yeah.
But they're not going to go out there and burn anybody. That's how it's always been. It just has. And I'm telling media could come out there and just blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Do you think that the organization is going to change? No, they're not. They're going to still do what they want to do. Do you think they give a shit? Do you think they give a shit about what a journalist is saying if they understand where they're going?
Do I think so? Absolutely.
I don't think
so. Absolutely.
Unless it's some type of controversy.
Because they've got every journalist wrapped around their little pinky finger.
Hold on. Like if there's a PED or if there's some crazy stuff that the organization doesn't want to answer for, then there's oh boy. But when it comes to players and strategy, to be honest with you, maybe on the East Coast they do, but here not so much.
I think the biggest problem is we have no more Examiner. The Chronicle, nobody even reads anymore. I don't even know where to get it. And it's all internet, so you can actually hide behind what you speak. It's all Twitter.
Paywall.
It's and again, I sort of lost all respect after we thought we got Aaron Judge, Judge, whatever they said, right? That's why I don't like what's his name. I mean, John Shea's been around. I sort of
John Shea's good.
Susan, you got to remember Susan and Alex really are paid by the Giants, and their money is taking care of the Giants and KBR. That's why I don't trust them, because they're going to tell you what you think you want to hear. They never, ever in these press conferences really get in it. John Heyman, thank you. He was the knucklehead that made a mistake.
Yeah.
But I think the problem, and I think Glenn brings it up, East Coast is one way. West Coast, it's a lot of cream puffs, because they get away with it because we've never had people ever take that step, and they're so worried about their job. That's just how it is. Again, LA, I don't know because I'm not there. San Diego, I know they were all over Melvin. They asked Melvin, what'd you do? But if you saw in San Diego when Melvin was down there and you get the guys up here, they would go to, and Melvin would say, well, yeah, that's how it is. Okay, thanks. Instead of saying, well, no, explain your situation. But I think probably because Susan originally did it with the A's.
Yeah.
Right. So she's been doing it a long time, and they respect her. So she sort of like gets away with it. Alex, I think a little bit different, where now he's working with, with Kuiper's kid. He now actually at least isn't a pure homer, and he will say occasionally. But I think a lot of these guys, they're worried about their job, and they don't want to say the wrong thing, especially them. And I'll bring it right up, especially after what happened to Larry Krueger, where he spoke his mind on KBR. He was probably 95% right, and they fired him. It's just one of those things. I don't know if you know the story of KBR. Larry went on the air and talked about Moises Alou, all the problems and then, he got released. So I think you got to remember, when it's your job, especially out here, you really got to watch yourself, because especially just doing Twitter, it's all about ratings. Look at our show. We don't really care about our ratings, but if we had to, and it was purely our job, we would actually have to really watch what we say, because, we might offend somebody. We might do this. I mean,
right.
I keep trying to get cookies from Aaron. I'm always going to say that
he's out there.
Even if maybe one It's not that great. No, I saw Aaron in this thing. So
I don't know what you did to
No,
piss him
just
off. He
really
ain't
you gotta
sending any.
watch
I haven't
stuff
seen any
from the-
deliveries for you, Lou. I don't know. What'd you do to him?
I spoke. See what
you know
happened?
what?
I bad mouth. They're not
But you
big
know
enough.
what?
I want 3
I'll
packs
give-
instead of 2.
The three of us here, I'll call us the secondary media. Then you've got, and I'll give credit tonight, and I don't always do this, but I'll give credit to Dan. I think this form of media,
It's interesting. It's fun.
you call it like it is. I'm not afraid to say what I think. I think Eric, same thing. We don't always agree, but at least
absolutely.
we're laying it out there. I think when the media acts the way the media does in the Bay Area, then no one is held accountable. The average fan picks up the paper and like, oh, the Giants aren't that bad. Well, yes, they
But
are.
there is no paper. That's the problem. The Chronicle doesn't have a green section
print.
anymore like it used to. There's no
The
print.
print,
Everything's
there's
on
no
the print
Everything's
or
digital.
Twitter.
What's that newspaper
And
that's
Twitter-
always set up trying to get you to subscribe? I subscribed to one at the ballpark and got my free blanket, and then I had to change my phone number. They were calling me 8 times a week. Yeah, you got it, time to renew. I said, don't call me back ever again. And then 3:00 in the morning. Yeah, this is it's Oakland something. Jesus. And now,
Yeah,
Bernice gets mad at me because
digital.
every time I walk by and you see somebody filling it out, I go, be careful filling that out. I'm telling you. So they don't like me
Yeah.
at that table. But
No,
again,
and I
call it like it
understand.
is.
I mean, you just look at Twitter. They are, and I'll bring up Susan. She loves Chapman. He's a Hall of Famer. In my mind, Chapman's not a Hall of Famer. He's good, but he's not a Hall of Famer. She thinks he's the best third baseman the Giants have ever had. And that's fine. And when she talks about him, that's fine. But, that's her opinion. That's why you have so many different beat writers. That's why there's so much information. That's why we have this show. That's why, hey, it's baseball playoffs. Let's see if Lou can come in so we can get a different take. It's one of those things where, hopefully I bring something different to the table because it would get boring if everyone just went the same way. And if you ever notice with the Giants, I think Glenn's bringing this up, is Alex, Susan, some of these guys, they all basically say the same thing about the Giants. Oh, God, Melvin got fired. Why? He was such a good guy. He's a homer. Nobody said he got fired because the Giants went 1-12 at home. They had losing records against his team, and that's fine. But that's the way it works here. Now, in New York and Philly, let me tell you something. When the Mets got eliminated, it was all-out war. Philly hoop football the other night got beat on Monday night. It's all-out war. How in the hell can you guys think this is a team that won the Super Bowl? Now we're losing to this. It's brutal. But that's just because East Coast is a lot different than the West Coast. And we're in San Francisco where everybody's happy. Just the way it is, unfortunately.
I'm not happy. Are you happy, Eric? I'm not. I haven't been happy.
Hey, it's just the way that, unfortunately, the media is here. It's just different for whatever reason. And you got to remember, too, where did baseball originate? On the East Coast. So there's a lot more history back there. It didn't come out West until freaking 58, right? So
sure.
58, right?
Sure it wasn't Cuba?
Baseball.
Sure it wasn't Cuba?
I'm just saying, when you want to talk about the inception of the major leagues, it all began out East. So there's just a little bit more history, of course, compared to the way it is over here on the West Coast. So unfortunately, it's just the way it's going to be. And look, like I said, does the club really care? I don't know.
And Larry Bear might instruct them. You want to be a beat writer? This is how it's going to be. If not, we're not going to let you guys get in the things. We're not going to do this. We're not going to let you do that. You never know, because you never know really with the Giants. I don't think it's the owners. I think it's really Larry Bear and a few people. Because if you ever watch an interview with Larry Bear, it's all friendly on KMBR. Yeah, we got another sellout. Come on by. With Buster, it's a little bit different. Buster's interviews are not the same. They go by, they ask him a little bit different question. It's actually got a question where he can answer. They're not going to really ring him yet. They're giving him, the 1 year pass. But I have a feeling, especially where Buster now says, hey, the fans deserve a winning product. We deserve to go to the playoffs. This is how it is. Because now his reputation is on the line. Yeah, Larry Bear, Larry Bear is president of Giants operations for two things. He got fired working for New York, and he was in the right place at the right time.
See, I'm careful with what I say.
He has no business being on the show. Slap him, Eric.
I got a guy over here. I got to worry about this guy over here.
One of those things.
Man, gotta have some
little thimble head there. Yeah.
So we have a doubleheader tomorrow, guys. I'm pretty excited. It's like it just keeps going.
Starts 2:03, man. 2:03 it begins, and then it's going to be all throughout the afternoon and the evening. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So here's my thing: you get the Dodgers in Milwaukee, 5:08. You have the Monday Night Football games competing. I know NFL is, but when you get the Dodgers, the defending world champions playing, do you think the ratings are going to be pretty close, or is football still going to dominate? What do you guys think? I mean, hey, it's the Dodgers, and they got Ohtani. So
that's a great question. That's a great question, Lou. It's playoff baseball. I think, doesn't that trump regular season football? Doesn't it? Or am I wrong? To me, I would take playoff freaking baseball over a regular season football game. And
I don't watch the NFL, so I mean,
neither do I. So,
I don't even look to see who's playing. Lou mentioned that Detroit played tonight. I don't know who anybody played today.
So, again, I know obviously they got two games for a reason. You got the Bills, going against the Falcons. It's not that huge of a matchup. The other one is the Bears in Washington. So, hopefully tomorrow and especially I would love it if the early game is a great game where most people are going to be watching it and it could lead to the late game. You know what I mean? I mean, you can get an exciting game. Oh my God. Did you see baseball? It's in the news, 5-3 Blue Jays win. And then it leads right in. Because you're going from Fox, right to TBS. So,
hey, Lou.
Yeah.
I don't think the NFL, the National Funny League, I don't think that would have the ratings, the eyeballs it has on it, the interest is if they came out tomorrow, and it could happen, you never know with this guy, but if your president came out tomorrow and says all betting on the NFL, gambling, it's banned, I think the NFL will go down the toilet. I think it's a betting league. It's all about the betting. It's not a league that I enjoy watching.
I completely agree for two reasons. First of all, FanDuel, probably in the last 3 years, football is first in the last probably 8 years. Football is the number one watch sport. I'd say 85% of it's because people bet it. I don't care what they say. NFL lets you bet it because you're getting a piece of the action. It used to you can only bet in Vegas, or you had to bet it illegal. Now you got FanDuel where there's so many different bets on every different player and things. It's not like baseball. I think baseball, more old school, people enjoy it. Like people probably tonight said, God, what a great baseball game. It was 3-1, old school baseball. Yes. With football, I think, Glenn, you made a great point. It's probably 85%, unless it's your home team and you're watching them. I think it's all about betting. I think, especially on Monday, where most people are betting on the weekend and you're buried and you're trying to get your money back on Monday, that's your priority instead of the game.
See, and Glenn, great point. That is a subject we probably should tackle in the off season. In one of these when there's nothing going on, talk about betting and how it's had an effect. We'll just say with baseball, but on sports in general, I think I got a feeling a lot of people base their fandom on who the hell they're betting to bet, where are they winning their money, and has it had an effect on this? And is it whether it's good, bad, or otherwise?
I think fantasy too, fantasy football.
Fantasy, yes.
Because remember, right now it's all about fantasy football because you're still going. God. You might be going on Monday night. You have two games you got to watch. Where baseball fantasy is already done.
It's done.
So it's not only the betting. It's not, oh my God, I got to see
my fantasy. It's a form of betting, too. It's a form of betting, Lou, the fantasy. It ropes you in. And, I mean, I've seen guys that get brainwashed with fantasy. I mean, it takes over their life. So
it can happen.
Saying.
There's no doubt about it. And here's the thing is, does it help the sport? I guess it does. But are you following it in a God, this sounds utopia-ish, but whatever. Do you have a vested interest in the team because you want your team to win, or is it because you just want to win some cash? That's kind of where I'm going with it. And look, have some damn loyalty. Loyalty on the team that you follow. Who gives a shit about how much freaking you got in your bank account? I watch baseball because I enjoy the game. I root for the Giants, not because I'm betting on them, but because I'm sitting there enjoying Giants baseball. It's just me. Maybe I'm not.
And, I'll bring up tonight's game. You had Mahomes, but let me tell you something. When you're in Seattle, Washington, it was probably like 54% were watching the Mariners, right? Every bar, the Mariners, and then maybe in a corner you might have had the football game. But again, that's
basketball
team in the back.
Basketball, a lot of betting on it too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Over-unders, and you can bet individual players, somebody's. And I'll tell you, do you realize this, Lou and Eric? I don't know if you know this. I think I mentioned it to Eric at one point on the show. So my vested interest in the WNBA, there's a team in Las Vegas. And I mean, every pro league wants a team in Vegas now. Did you know that 2 of the WNBA teams, their stadium, they play in a casino?
Oh, yeah.
Las Vegas Aces, when I went to their game last month, it's at the MGM.
Yeah.
And then you've got Connecticut. Yeah. They play in Mohegan Sun. So
both casinos. Yeah.
Yeah. So betting is a whole different breed. When I was a kid, it was all this, you had to do it under the, I mean, I couldn't do it. You had to do it offshore gambling. And now there's a bookie on every corner in Winnipeg. You can place a bet on anything.
Go to a Raider game. You can bet in game. You can go bet there. I mean,
that's crazy. That's just Vegas. Crazy.
That's just how it is.
And they're going to have a baseball team there. Well,
they're going to have a baseball team. They're going to have an NBA team. They're going to have the WNBA team, who, by the way, were the champions.
Mm-hmm.
They got, and it's sort of funny because a lot of people don't know that the owner of the Las Vegas Raiders also owns the Las Vegas Aces. So,
see, for your in-depth coverage of the WNBA, join Lou Marsden on Sports Talk Live. He's coming around, Eric. He's coming around.
There you
I mean, where else are you going to get Saskatchewan Rough Rider talk than right here?
Well, there you go. Senior. What do you guys think? Mariners in 5? I'm not going to go there.
Blue Jays
in 5? No, I couldn't see that in 5. I think it goes
Jays
6. I'm still going to say it's going to be.
I think it comes back at least 6. The thing is, and Senior brings a great point. You're seeing how it is now. It's not best out of 5. It's best out of 7. So, and again, it's a lot of overreaction. I mean, I might look right now and see, because Toronto, I think, was minus 160 on the series. You could probably get plus money now on Toronto winning the series. It's only one game. So, again, we've seen many times, like, imagine if this was the Giants and we were hosting and we lost game 1. Would we say, oh my God, the other team's got the advantage, we can't win? No. It's one game. It's just how it is.
Hey, Lou, we can't forget, just for all due respect, UFC, the Vegas Golden Knights. If it's a sport, I mean, turtle races. I'm sure they have their annual turtle race, or duck race. The duck race is there somewhere.
Besides UFC,
NASCAR was there today. NASCAR's
a huge thing. They also have one of Eric's favorite sports there, where they slap the guy. Where the guy stands there and
they slap. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Pickleball championship, yeah.
my God.
That where they're
the one thing about Vegas is they're set up for these events. F1's probably the only negative event that they've had there. But everything else is pretty good. I mean, the one thing what's sort of amazing is in the next 4 years, they're getting the Super Bowl again. That'll be announced probably in February. They're going to have the Final Four, and they're going to have the college football. The city's set up for it. You have the casinos. I mean, I don't know if people know the only true sport left in America that no one's mentioned yet is, of course, wrestling. And WrestleMania was there last year was supposed to be New Orleans. It made so much money. They told New Orleans, we're going to screw you for a couple of years. We're going back to Vegas because there's no competition.
Kidding.
So they're coming back. Yeah, they made so much money on WrestleMania. I think it was something like $326 million. It was the last two WrestleManias combined. So now they're coming back. And it's just, again, you hear about Vegas, right now they're sort of, they're losing tourism. They're not losing. I mean, they're building a $2.3 billion baseball stadium with a team that's owner that nobody likes. They have new casinos going on. They're fine. The biggest problem they had in Vegas is, Eric, one of the problems. You go to a casino, you park, you had to pay to park. You check into a hotel, you get a room for $99. Before you know it, it's like going out in San Francisco and you look at your bill like, what the fuck is this? There's 5 different taxes. They have all these different things, and they now say, listen, people are realizing, why should I stay there where I'm paying all these extra fees? They're getting rid of the fees. It'll be fine. Once you go to like March Madness and nobody's showing up in Vegas, then there's a problem. But it's fine.
Come on, Senior. You should have said something. I would have run down there, man. Come on. He was in my damn town. Dude, what's going on? You should have said something. I would have come right
just
on
toot
over.
at you? Did he burp at you driving by or what?
Dude, I would have brought you some Stevie Boy's burgers because I had that again today and freaking am very
You okay?
satisfied.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm always
Never heard of Stevie's.
It's a brand new place that opened up here, and it's a small little place. And dude, the best freaking burger I've ever bought ever in my life.
That's what I like.
Come on, Senior. My God, you're in golf, dude. The ball field is less than a mile away from my house, man. Killing me, dude.
Maybe there was a reason he didn't want.
Yeah,
you to
maybe.
come,
Okay.
So close.
Okay, I'm logging that. It's logged.
Let me ask you something, Lou. We were talking about gambling and sports in Vegas. Do you think, Eric and I are pretty proud of the fact we cover the Giants all year, and we keep it rolling in the off season, and we take a little interest in the playoffs. So we do this during the month of October. You think should we invest a little more time? Do we not do enough fantasy on this channel or what?
I'm done with that. Have fun with it.
Yeah, I think, I think if you can do anything, do it among friends and do one sport, especially when they're overlapping. But I think a lot of
should
times
we do more sports talk, fantasy sports talk?
No, because if you watch the ratings on TV, I think, tell you the truth about fantasy, it's sort of dying a little bit because they have so much competition. Why should I do fantasy among friends for 100 when I can go on FanDuel, where that's really what FanDuel's done? I can bet a player, a prop, a team, all that. I think fantasy is convenient, especially if you're young, maybe learning the sports. But I think fantasy isn't the same as it was maybe 5 years ago because they didn't have that competition. Now,
now you can win, Lou. You're aware, Lou. You can go in today, do a fantasy lineup in any sport for tonight, and click the button, and you're head to head with someone around the world.
Yep.
And it pays like $1.91.
Real cash now.
You get their little cut. It's quick cash.
Yep.
You can bet, and you can bet $1, or you can bet like 25,000, 50,000.
Yeah,
I'm more along the dollar line. Gotta admit.
No, I understand. It's sort of like when I go to Vegas, I don't really bet the sports. I still stick with horses because I'm pretty good at it. And, I get 6% comps. So if I bet, say, over a couple days, $2,000, I get a free $120 for food. They already take care of my lodging, and it's a weird thing. That's why, everyone always wonders, God, some of these guys in casinos, why do they get taken to the games? There are some guys that bet buco dollars, I mean, it's sort of funny when you watch like the movie Casino. If some guy hits you for $5 million, that ruins your whole month. That's why they try to come up with an excuse so you can come back. The biggest problem with gamblers is, as I always tell people, you should never gamble money you could afford to lose. Gotcha. Because I've seen so many guys that get in big trouble. Second of all, it's amazing where you go and you play, say, blackjack, and in the first 40 minutes, you're up like $2,000 and you're hot as a pistol. Eventually, it's going to turn around. What casinos want to do is, you're up. Well, now instead of you betting $10 a hand, now you bet 25, and you're going to go through that $2,000, and you got to be able to take the money and walk away. It's just one of those things. You got to be able to have some discipline. And
there you go.
Sometimes it overtakes you, and now you promise. Yeah, but I'm not betting. I'm just doing fantasy. But at the end of the season, if you lose, usually the guy that finishes dead last has to do something wicked because he finished last. And you put money up front. So to me, that is a form of gambling. But sometimes with fantasy, especially baseball, like football, I could see because you only got to do it once a week. Fantasy, you got to do it constant. You know, you realize, oh my God, there's a game tomorrow. You got to worry about position players. I mean, it's not easy, you know. And I think sometimes it overtakes you, and then you go, why am I playing? Especially if you're having a bad part of the year, you're affected. I don't know. I just think, with so many different forms of entertainment, there's different ways to go.
That makes sense.
So we got two going tomorrow, Eric. Who do you like?
Two. Toronto and the Brewers. That's where I'm going, baby.
Lou?
Toronto, I definitely like, especially I think with a must win. And I'm going to take the Brewers. I have a feeling because Snell's pitched so good the last like 3 starts.
Yes.
He's due for a bad start. So I'm going to let Milwaukee come in a blowout just because, I'm going to be a little bit different. And, I think with Milwaukee winning game 1, now we have a series. I just don't want the Milwaukee to come up and the Dodgers come in and, they're the Dodgers. So it's going to be exciting. But, hey, I'm excited. 2 games tomorrow. It's no longer 4, but 2 we'll take.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Glenn.
Like you said, Lou, when you're betting, when you hang out in Vegas, Vegas always wins, Lou. You know that. Vegas always wins.
They always win. Last time I looked, I was still trying to find a clock. They don't have clocks. The oxygen's different to make sure you can stay up longer. It's those casinos like the MGM that you were talking about were built not from people winning. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. So the fact that you guys are picking Milwaukee, I think you're crazy because I am not going to bet against Vegas. They have got the Dodgers to win quite handily tomorrow. It's actually over. Yeah. We haven't even started playing. The game's tomorrow, and they've already won. So I've got the Dodgers, the Toronto Blue Jays. Jays bounce back. I can't see them losing 2 in a row at home, but that is my pick.
The one thing, Snell's a great pitcher, but this team is a contact hitter. Some about Milwaukee, they're like 8 or 9 deep that could sort of scare you. Not like when Snell would go against the Giants where really there's like 3 guys he has to worry about. The other guys are overwhelmed. I don't think Milwaukee's going to be overwhelmed.
Funny you say that, Lou. I was going to say the same thing about Milwaukee's pitching. They've been running out 2 or 3 pitchers that always seem to get the job done. They can't do that for 7 games. So I think the Dodgers are just going to clobber their pitching.
You think so?
Well, I haven't been with you guys the last couple of days, but our picks have been so phenomenal. So anything's possible.
Well, it'll be interesting. Now, the thing is, Peralta, if it is Peralta going, he had a stinker of a game in Chicago. Now he's going to be in the friendly confines, I guess, if you want to say, even though the ball travels. Maybe he'll pitch better. I don't think he's going to have two stinkers in a row. I think he's going to come out and look, and maybe the Brewers come out with a little bit of confidence, knowing that they've got some ownage on the Dodgers, right? And then that could play a little bit of psychological effect on the Dodgers. Man, we haven't beat these guys yet. Then again, it's the postseason. It's different. This isn't the regular season no more. So maybe.
And Eric, you chased me over there. You chased me over to the Dodgers because you said you pointed out to me Shohei hasn't really done much yet. Well, then it's time he goes off. Then it's time he goes off.
Could be. It's possible.
Overdue.
There's no doubt about it. It possibly can happen. All right. More baseball, baby. That's what I'm looking forward to. This is good stuff.
Sooner or later, we're almost there, Eric. We'll play one and we get a day or 2 off. And then we're going to play one and get 2 days. I'm looking forward to that after 2.5 weeks of this.
My God, I thought we were going to get at least 1 day before the DS and the CS, but nope. Yeah. When you had all these elimination games, you had 2 elimination games for the DS. Both of them, right? Went.
Are you surprised?
LCS.
Are you guys surprised, like I am, that we're this late in already? Anyway, so why are we not going a game? American National, play it out one game a day. Do we really need to do? The Mariners have to travel to Toronto after the 15 innings and play, and then they got to play again tomorrow, an afternoon game. So it's not even 24-hour wait. They're playing 2 bang. Can't we just? You got 4 teams left. You can play a game and a game and a game. You can have a day off.
The dates were already scheduled before the playoffs started.
And usually, whenever they play at the respective places, they play all the way until they got to go to the next city. So Toronto will be 2 games in a row, day off. 3 games in a row in LA, I think, and then a day off when they go back to Toronto, and then they finish off the last 2 if it goes to Game 7. But I think that's just they're keeping it to how baseball is. For a series, you go until you get to the next city. So
that's why like the NBA finals and the World Series dates are set. So say a team sweeps 4 straight, they don't play for a week. They're not going to change the dates to help that one team. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is scheduled.
Right. Let me ask you a question, Lou, before I got to get out of here to the newsroom.
Yeah.
Up in the Bay Area, just outside San Francisco, if you're going to drive up to Daly City, you just take the highway just out from the condo where we're at. You pass John Daly Drive.
Correct.
Is that named after the old game show host that hosted? Was it Who Am I or What's My Line or What's My Line?
I don't know. I just know John Daly because on Tuesday nights they have a movie theater and a sushi for $5.99 that I go to, and of course. Right outside Daly City's Coma, and they have a thing called Westlake Joe's. That's a very popular place, and that's right off John Daly and, of course, Daly City BART, which is our thing. But
you go up John Daly, I think, and you get to the Cow Palace, too.
Yeah, it twirls around like a big circle. So, in fact,
just curious, we drive by it all the time, and you know who I think of, but it's not. And the game show host was from John Daly. And I think he was from the California area. So anyway, I am no further enlightened tonight after a night with you 2 clowns.
I tried to help you. Well, hey, guys, I appreciate you guys asking me to come on after Game 1.
We love you.
I appreciate it, trying to through good comments, of course. The
absolutely.
Chat, for,
great job.
Comments and, hopefully we see 2 great games tomorrow.
This was a fun conversation as usual today, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just come on here shooting the shit, talking about baseball, man. And guys, thanks for hanging out and sticking with us and listening to us blabber about baseball. Sometimes we come up with something pretty good. So how about that? All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. Again, doubleheader tomorrow. 2 games, ALCS, and the first game of the NLCS as well. All right. Thanks again, Lou. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you, Eric.
Woo!
See you, boys.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.